Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now that Jarrett Hurd has gotten past Lara, he's now IBF and WBA junior middleweight champion. I wanted to talk about the fight that a lot of people in that division are clamoring for, which is Jarrett Hurd versus Jermell Charlo. Now, this is a fight that I think is really, really good because of the style matchup. You have a guy in Jermell Charlo with what's been becoming a more dangerous. He's becoming a more dangerous fighter ever since he got with Derrick James. Pretty much, like, dude developed into a killer, a boxer puncher who acts and thinks like a killer in the ring. And you look at his last three fights. I think every performance, his last three fights has gotten better. He had the fight against John Jackson where he was getting thoroughly outboxed, came back in the latter rounds, stopped John Jackson, fought Charles Hatley, granted off of a year layoff. Stopped him rather easily. And then he fought Eric Salubin, which everybody was thinking was going to be a good fight, and got him out of there in a round. So he's getting better it appears that he's getting better as a fighter. And I think the Jarrett Hurd fight for Jermell Charlo from his side of things, that's going to be the ultimate litmus test for him, the ultimate test for him to see where he's really at in that weight class. Because I see a lot of people crowning Jermell Charlo as the best 154 pounder in the world. But last time I checked, Jarrett Hurd's the one with two belts. Jarrett Hurd's the one that just beat Lara. And I think it's a good fight. I really think it's a good fight. Charlo has come out and he said that Jarrett Hurd needs to really tighten up on that defense, because if he hits him like these other guys tend to hit him, it's gonna be that's gonna be it for him. And my thing is okay. Obviously, he's been getting some good stoppage victories. We give Charlo that credit for that. But at the same time, it's okay, Jarrett Hurd is not John Jackson. Jarrett Hurd is not Charles Hatley coming off a year layoff. Jarrett Hurd is not Eric Salubin, who, a lot of people hyped up, myself included, but, still a green fighter. This guy has this guy is a season, even though he only has 21, 22 fights, even with that amount of fights, you can see at this point in his career, Jarrett Hurd is a seasoned professional. He's fought the likes of Lara, Austin Trout, Tony Harrison, Frank Galarza. He's been getting good experience on top of good experience. And now that he has two titles and you just went and beat Lara, that's gonna give him a lot of confidence, and it's gonna make him harder to beat. So my thing is this, man. Jermell Charlo, thus far in his career, he's back to everything he set up. So you give him credit for that. But I'm telling you right now, he better make sure he trains as hard as he talks for this fight, because whenever it does get made, and hopefully it does get made, because they're both Al Haymon guys, and I hope Al Haymon don't protect them from each other, but hopefully it gets made in due time. He better train as hard as he talks for this fight, because honestly, objective opinion here is that even though Jermell has improved, I think he's barking up the wrong damn tree in Jarrett Hurd. Jarrett Hurd. He's kind of the way I classify Jarrett Hurd. This dude is kind of you guys remember, Antonio Margarito was kind of the same way Jarrett Hurd was in his prime. Margarito got hit a lot. Margarito had that pressure, come forward style. He had a solid jab, and he always looked like one of those guys. Margarito always looked like one of them guys that was very beatable. He was very beatable, but at the same time, he was still beating top level opponent at the top level opponent until he ran into the likes of Manny Pacquiao, Shane Mosley, but. I digress. I think Jarrett Hurd, to me, and I've thought this ever since I saw him in the Tony Harrison fight. Because I think that the Tony Harrison fight to me was a good test for Hurd, because Tony Harrison, even though not the best fighter in the world, Tony Harrison had he had the style to beat Jarrett Hurd, right? And Jarrett Hurd was able to hang tough in that fight, and he knows how to grind. His fights are entertaining, but they're not always pretty. He knows how to grind out victories. And I think that's going to serve him well. Jermell Charlo, Jarrett Hurd, that's a fight, man. So, all I'm saying in this video, the main idea of this damn video is simply that Jermell Charlo, I think, is barking up the wrong tree in Jarrett Hurd. Jarrett Hurd, soft-spoken guy, don't really say much, not much for words, but he's a beast in that ring, man. And to go in there with a guy like Arizona Lara, who I know a lot of us in the boxing world say is boring, but at the same time, you still gotta respect what he's been able to accomplish in his career. Lara, been in there with a lot of great fighters: Paul Williams, Canelo, Vance Monterosa, solid fighter. Lara has been one of the top fighters in boxing for quite some time, longer than most fighters have been at the top of their division. So you got to give him credit. And when a guy like Jarrett, who's young, who people had a lot of questions about, who people thought, maybe we'll get out box, because I did see a lot of people say, well, so and so did this to her, so Lara's gonna outbox him, but that's not what happened. Lara had some success for the first 4 rounds, but you saw Jarrett Hurd kind of impose himself as the fight went on. So I think the same thing will happen with Charlo. To be honest with you, when they fight, and I'm hoping they do fight, because Charlo's fighting on June 9th. He's supposed to fight a TBA opponent, maybe Austin Trout, but I think this is going to be the kind of fight where we see the best out of both these guys. We saw the best so far for Jarrett Hurd, but I think when you get a guy in there like a Jermell Charlo with his style, with his kind of dog, like, you're gonna see the best out of him, and vice versa. I don't think we really seen a fighter bring out the best of Jermell Charlo. So it's one of them fights I want to see. But I'm telling you right now, Charlo, like, you're barking up the wrong tree. You better just make sure you train as hard as you talking, and that's all I'm gonna say in this video. But albeit great fight for boxing, and I really hope it happens. So Al Haymon, make the fight. It's a good fight for boxing. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Take the time to subscribe, and like I say in every single damn video, you could love me or you can hate me, but I'm just kidding, dang it. So until next time, take care, guys.